Management practices are the descriptions of how managers seek to introduce systems or routines to achieve things in their organisation. Management practices exist in a number of different forms. There's the textbook description of what management practices are, and then there's how those management practices are understood and implemented in each individual organisation.
There's a long tail of organisations who do not seem to adopt good practice, and that seems to be a typically British issue. We did not find this in Germany, we did not find this with America, but undoubtedly the long tail exists, and it is the biggest single problem we found in the UK and management practices.
Efficiency is all about doing things right, doing things as cheaply as possible, doing things as quickly as possible, doing things as productively as possible. It's all about using your resources well. Effectiveness is all about doing the right things. So it's getting that balance right between doing things that customers actually need me to do and doing them as efficiently as I possibly can.
You have to be careful about assuming that those ideas will lead to improved performance. The crucial thing is how those ideas are implemented in practice. I think what we can identify through a variety of different research sources is that there are generic principles of good practice that can then be implemented and adapted locally.
First of all, worry about getting the quality of your products and services correct. Once you get quality correct, then you can worry about speeding up what you do. But there's no point doing things really quickly if the fundamental quality of what you're doing is not very good in the first place.
Context matters a lot. Management practices don't exist in a vacuum. Practices need adapting. A practice is not just a standalone black box.
You need to work with the local context, local employees, and develop one's own solutions, and a solution that works for your organisation in addressing the challenges that organisations may face, rather than trying to take something off the shelf or adopt something that a consultant's introduced to the firm without thinking about how well it fits your particular organisation's characteristics.
So it's always a good principle to start by trying to understand what's working and what's not within your own organisation, then to look at how other organisations tackle similar problems. Simple replication, taking it and doing exactly the same thing again, won't work. You've got to take the practice and shape it so that it's appropriate within your own organisation.
Organisations have pockets of good ideas, pockets of excellent practice. What you need to do inside organisations is think about how do we encourage sharing of ideas, sharing of knowledge, transferring staff from one location to another so they take their ideas with them is a good way of transferring knowledge.
How do you know when you've got a good practice? Experiment, test, measure, be objective. These are some of the things you can do to really capture practices and then to spread them throughout the organisation.
Questioning an organisation's practices is really important for managers.
Practices change over time. We need to always rethink practices to look at whether we can be innovative. We can actually be held back by the rigidness of our practices because we're set in our ways, and our competitors have better practices, our competitors know our practices, they can do things better than us.
Really good organisations manage to both exploit existing resources and deliver today's products and services, but also constantly explore and look for what tomorrow's products and services will be.
What is an ambidextrous organisation? It is an organisation which is equally adept at doing two things. So a company that is highly efficient in terms of its manufacturing operations, but is also flexible, is able to change with the times. How do you create ambidexterity? There's two very simple approaches. One is through your structure. You create an organisation structure whereby you have highly focused tailored units. One unit dedicated towards essentially serving today's customers very efficiently, very competently. Another unit whose job is to kind of look for the next opportunities. The other solution is to do it through the culture. And what do I mean by that? You as an individual, if you're in the sales part of an organisation, you have a choice essentially between spending your time selling to an existing customer or going after a new lead, a new sales lead. An ambidextrous organisation is one which essentially does both of them. But the point is that the decision about which to do at any given moment in time is best orchestrated through a culture whereby that individual makes that choice. And an ambidextrous organisation for me is one which has a culture in which people are both free to make those choices and well enough sort of versed in the corporate vision that they can make smart choices.